act a fool.
Yes, sir. You already know what time it is. It's Doc with M. Greasy bringing you Just Noise.
Yes, sir.
Bringing you this certified action on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google and Apple Podcasts, iTunes, wherever you can get your podcasts. Today we're going to be running back what happened over the weekend in the college football, not playoffs, but conference championships. Had a lot of good action. Had Alabama take care of business with Georgia.
As we
predicted, King Dre and TB bet against the GOAT, Nick Saban, and he took him to school. We also had Oklahoma State falling to Baylor. I missed it on that one. Oklahoma State had a chance to get that thing done. They just, what? Last play of the game, he could not outrun the defender to the end of the goal line.
I mean, he couldn't cut back or just something. I mean, I think if he went to try to make that dive attempt and just try to run through,
right,
he would have had a better shot. It's just the alligator. I mean, the arms just wasn't long enough.
Absolutely. I was thinking when he was heading towards the sideline, myself, I was thinking, hell, run him just, you got to make that cutback and try to see if, that all-season conditioning and strength can push you on into the end zone. But,
if everything paid off.
Yeah, nonetheless, he tried to outrun him, and it didn't work. So Baylor was able to pull that off, and then Michigan, we was expecting a good ball game, and now when Michigan said, it's our time, they said it is our time. But
Iowa got those 3 points in the first quarter, and I told King, I said, they're about to just do the Hawkeyes in. And
right.
Lo and behold, it was 42 points later.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I was about to say, but I was impressed by how Michigan just was like, we're not going to fail. We're not going to fail. We're in it to win it. We're going to take care of business. And they just took control of that ball game. I was surprised. I knew Iowa's offense wasn't, too much to write home about, but Michigan, man, that defense and, credit to Jim Harbaugh. They took Tyler Goodson out of the ball game, and that was it. Nothing else to write home about.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much just shut that whole Hawkeye unit down, and great job by Harbaugh and the coaching staff on execution. They got off kind of to a slow start, and then the wheels just started turning, and it was like, now Iowa, when they got down, they started going forward and rolling the dice a little bit, but Michigan wasn't having any of it.
True, Michigan was not having any of it, and
number 2, I can't remember the young man's name. He came through. He had a few big plays. Hassan, he had an impact, but not like he did on that Ohio State game. But it was overall good effort by the Wolverines.
True that. It was overall, like you said, a very impressive performance by the Wolverines, and nonetheless, they are headed to the Orange Bowl to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, that was a game that I picked Alabama just because I knew, like I was saying, Saban had it. He has a way of motivating his team, especially when they're underdogs. I like the rat poison quote that he gave the media. So going into that game, that he was saying, look, we got 3 football games to win before we win another national championship. There was no way that Alabama could afford to lose that game and still make the playoffs. So you had to see the best of Alabama or their season was over. Excellent coaching job for the first time all season, all year. The offense, they spread Georgia out. They spread the Georgia defense out. They didn't even attempt to run the ball. I mean, it was sparingly and it was here and there, but for the most part, they ran hurry up, kept Jordan Davis. He was not allowed to get off the field and catch his reps and catch his breaks and, get all his breath. And, hey, man, you looked over there on the sideline, man, going into the second quarter, Big Boy was on the sideline, like gasping for air.
He was out of there.
He was out of there, man. And what that allowed Alabama to do was take advantage of him being ineffective on the pass rush and stopping the run when they did try to run, and the rest of the defense suffered because of that.
And like me and you talked off air, we ran down that Georgia schedule, and this more than likely was the best offense that they've seen thus far. And we saw that come out Saturday night, and it was like, well, me and Doc said this, and TV and King, well, where y'all at? We pretty much hit this one on the head. Then we got into that Alabama defense. They were more focused on Georgia's defense, but we were like, hey, Alabama gonna play some defense, and it was touch and go, but they got it together, and it was what it was at the end of the day.
Right. It just looked like Georgia was totally unprepared. I don't know if that's them being, I guess, shell shocked, which you shouldn't be taking on a Nick Saban ball club, but it just seemed like they were unprepared. But then again, they haven't faced anybody the caliber of Alabama all season. The best offense they played was Tennessee, and kind of could see Tennessee would be able to put up some points. But even Tennessee, I mean, they really didn't go a lot of hurry up until the game was out of reach. This was the bread and butter of Alabama's game plan. Spread them out, 4 or 5 wide receivers, tire out the defensive line. Defensive line can get no pressure. Then you have a mobile quarterback, kind of like you playing Madden back in the day. You have Michael Vick, and you send all your receivers on the street. And if you don't have a fast enough spy or whatever, or your defensive line isn't getting that, then it's gonna get bad for the defense, and it did. And they put up a lot of points on Georgia in a hurry. So Alabama, with that being said, is going to head to the Cotton Bowl to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. They did pull away from Houston going into halftime. They pretty much took over that game, pulled away. It was close for maybe the first quarter and a half. But they did eventually pull away, so they got what they wanted. So now we're going to see what it's about. I mean, for years, the small school's been saying we want Bama and we want to compete. Well, you got the chance.
Right. It's either put up or shut up.
That's it. It's either put up or shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cincinnati, I think this is the part I would like, Doc. This layover. Why we just can't get into it like this Saturday? Let's just keep rolling. We got this layover, and you know how it is with offense. Now we got to get the timing back. We got to knock the rust off. And I want to see the Cincinnati offense go.
Right.
I want to see it go. And I don't like the layoff. But I think it's going to be touch and go. It's going to be like 2 boxes in the beginning. And the inevitable will eventually happen. And we're going to just keep it going.
I believe they will too. That's another show. We're going to get into more of the breakdown and analysis. But just from a early, if I was picking right now, I'd have a hard time putting any fiat on Cincinnati. I would have to put all my eggs in a basket and roll with Alabama.
No, King is a big Wolverine fan, and hey, I said, save me a seat on the bandwagon. I hold the trophy up in the back,
right?
Because I'm gonna ride the Wolverines all the way to the top.
Right.
I feel confident in this ball club. I like what I see. Like I said, to overcome your obstacles or things that have held you back in the past. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen, and that's why I don't like the layout. But hopefully they can keep it rolling. But we shall see.
We shall see. That's why they play the game. But nonetheless, it is going to set up for an interesting college football playoff. If I had to put my money on it, I don't think Michigan's going to beat Georgia. I just don't. I think Georgia's going to be upset. I think we're in for a part 2 of the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason why, well, traditionally, they have taken a break. I mean, even back to the early years, teenagers, even late 80s, early 90s, it was kind of a break after the last game. Maybe with more interest and more hype, maybe they can squeeze in that last game. No disrespect to the veterans, but it's like we got 3 weeks and I'm not watching Army versus Navy. So, I'm just not watching it. So, the disrespect that maybe they can find a way to squeeze that in. But traditionally, like that Thanksgiving weekend, you go ahead and play your rival. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To end up the college season and sit back and let the posters vote and decide what bowl game you're going to. And, like I said, back when we were growing up, you got bowl week. We got out of school, we was out that whole week. Bowl games start coming on like the 20th.
They started on Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe a few days before Christmas.
Right.
But it was hammered out. It was hammered out. We had some balls.
We did. The Sun Bowl, the Holiday Bowl. I mean, it was just jam-packed. And we knew that on New Year's Day, the Cotton Fiesta, all that. Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl.
All yams that day.
All yams that day. With the good cooking and black-eyed peas, we knew it was going down, man. But I'm looking forward to that college football show that we're going to have when we get into in-depth look at the semifinals and get on to some predictions. That's going to be an interesting show. I know, like you said, Dre is definitely going to be rolling with those Michigan Wolverines. That's no surprise there. But nonetheless, that was a very good Saturday, last Saturday. That brought us some good contests and some surprises. So,
oh yeah.
That was that. What? Just your thoughts on Georgia? Like, did they drop the ball? You think they ran out of gas? They've been exposed. Or could this be that motivation?
I think they got exposed because, as we talked off air, this was the best offense you were going to see that they've seen thus far.
Right.
Not only that. I talked about how I'm not impressed with Georgia's offense. I'm not impressed by it. I mean, it's like it's vanilla.
Right.
It's vanilla. I mean, at least give me Neapolitan. Can I get a little strawberry and chocolate with it? But it's vanilla to me.
Right.
And I knew a defense like Bama would eventually expose that. And that's what they did. Yeah, they had a few bright spots, but when things were on the line and plays needed to be made, the offense couldn't make those plays.
They couldn't. They could not make those plays.
We playing in your home state.
In your home state.
And I said this a lot. Georgia will let you down every time at the end of the season. Right. And this is what happened. So I had, because that Auburn Alabama game, I seen something. Auburn had this game. But for Alabama to be so resilient, it was like
that's their word. That's their word. That's their word. Resilient. Resilient, and they are seven-time national championship winners for a reason. Hats off to Nick Saban and those guys down there in Tuscaloosa. They get it done. A lot of programs, they make excuses and they fall short, but I think the key thing for Alabama was they didn't allow Georgia's defense. Not only did they slow them down, steam out the pass rush and neutralize Jordan Davis, they didn't turn the ball over, which allowed Georgia to score easy points to get those extra 10, maybe 14 points that they get by forcing the turnovers and only having to go 10, 15 yards down the field. So hats off to Alabama. Like I said, down in Tuscaloosa, they are the real deal. You got to knock the champ completely out.
And Doc, this is what I always talk about. Whether we talking NFL ball, college football, the things you get away with all season long, that's what's going to catch up with you in the end and cause you to lose. The things you get away with, that's what's going to put you out of something.
And it never fails. It happened. It never fails. It never fails. Well, looking into the NFL, we can bring y'all our NFL games of the week segment. You got me and Greasy, so
we tied up, baby.
We tied up.
I know you wanted me to change up from the New England Bills. You know, you hit me that Sunday. Greasy, hey, the game in Buffalo, not New England. I was like, oh, for real? Yeah, man. It's like, I was like, you know what, man? Just like that Aaron Rodgers one. I'm gonna go stick with the Patriots. I'm gonna say, hey, they got it done, man. Now they're 2 games up on them.
They got it done. Now they're 2 games up on them, and I'm starting to believe Buffalo is exactly what Buffalo is. I don't think.
You don't think they're gonna circle the wagon?
No, I've been waiting for Buffalo. I want to believe in Buffalo. It'd be a nice story. It's been a minute since Buffalo has made that run. I don't think they're better than last year. I think they've kind of regressed. Or the year before. I think they've regressed. Something's just not. I don't see any consistency. It's like they have the talent on paper. I mean, you can't sleep on them. They can go out there and they can beat anybody. But as far as putting together that 4-game stretch where they just look like this is the best team in the AFC, they don't. And
it's like something is barely missed.
I
can't put my finger on it.
I can't put my finger on it either.
They need another receiver, another number 1.
I don't think it's really
to open that up. I mean, the defense is there. It's something about that offense that's just.
I don't think it's necessarily that they need another wide receiver. They don't have a bell cow. That backed by committee type thing. I mean, they're good players. Singletary's a nice player. You know, Moss is a nice player. You know, Breida, they brought him in from San Francisco. He's a nice player. They don't have that bell cow, which there aren't too many of these days. But they don't have that Jonathan Taylor from Indianapolis or the Derrick Henry. They don't have that one guy or Dalvin Cook. That's like this is the bell cow. You're going to get them. They don't have that, and then they move to a lot of short passes, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't something. It hasn't bounced their way. I was picking them to have more like a 13-4, 14-3 record, and then like I said, New England just showed that they're head and shoulders above them. And Baltimore, like I said, if Baltimore keeps playing, Cincinnati is going to win that division. And
what is going on out there? I mean, they lose to Pittsburgh, and then the previous weeks they're struggling to score.
They're struggling to score, and like I said, Cincinnati. It's like nobody who wants the AFC Central Division, AFC North, who wants that division, like. Pittsburgh beats Baltimore. San Diego storms into Cincinnati. They take care of business. We all pick the Bengals. So it's just kind of like we don't know what's going. We don't know. Right. We don't know who wants to take that one home. So you know, it's wide open. I would say beware of New England and maybe the rest of the AFC kind of let Kansas City hang around too long.
I think it's anybody's conference to win, whether it's AFC, NFC, because as I stated, every season there's a team in each conference that distance themselves, or it might be 2 in the NFC or 2 in the AFC, but at least 1, and you'll see the distance. They'll start to separate themselves. Now, they don't always win the bowl, but we'll see that. This season hasn't provided that. Like, if you look at this AFC picture, whether it's Buffalo, the Patriots, Ravens, Steelers, that whole division, the Colts, the Titans, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, hell, even the Broncos, everyone is in it.
They're still in it.
From the top to the bottom is only 2 games.
It is. And that's
ridiculous.
And that's what makes that extra game.
Now, do you think it's too much parity?
No, there's no such thing as too much parity. But that extra game, that 17th game, that could make all the difference. That could make all the difference.
And this is another thing that makes the difference. guy we had on the show, Jay Miles, we always talk about this. Watch for those teams that have a tie. Because as you see now with the Steelers, they have that tie. It could either help you or hurt you.
Right.
In this instance, it's
Right.
helping.
Right.
It's helping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of Cincinnati, one of our NFL games of the week, they are hosting the San Francisco 49ers. That's going to be a 3:25 kickoff. That's going to be out in Cincinnati, Ohio. Want to jump in this one for a quick minute, take a quick look at it. We haven't discussed the 49ers at all, I don't think, this year. They haven't been too much to talk about. Jimmy G tricked the game off against Seattle, and it's just kind of like, I think if Trey Lance was in that particular situation, there's no way Seattle stopped that young man from running the ball in. But hey, Shanahan's rolling with who he's rolling with.
Should have been a win. Should have been a win.
Mm-hmm.
Now they coming in at 6-6, and the 49ers, they were the Cardinals surprised me. I was really leaning towards the 49ers. With Kyle and the offense, with Kittles. I love the fullback and Porno G and all this. I love the way the 49ers execute and run the football.
Right.
The ball.
Right.
And defense gonna be what it's gonna be.
Right.
They have some nice studs on D with Bosa and the rest of the gang.
Yep.
And I really think this 49er team is underachieving.
They have.
I mean, but I think this game can be pretty much of a stepping stone. If they can get this one, and next week, they have the Falcons, and the 49ers can do this.
They can
do this.
They can. They're at 6-6. The football team, Washington, they're at 6-6. So, win 2 or 3 of the next ball games, or win 3 ball games in a row, they could possibly still get in that wild card position. It's just I think they were not expecting to start a running back to go down. Raheem Sterling goes down. I don't think they were expecting that to go. They were kind of wanting to kind of give the reins to Trey Lance. Due to the fact that you know what you have when you have with Jimmy G. He's not going to win you the game, but he can damn sure lose you the game. So they're kind of sticking with what they know. And I think to Shanahan's credit, I think they were expecting to make the playoffs this year, rather than just give the keys to Lance and maybe they lose a couple games and maybe they're sitting at 3-9 right now instead of 6-6. So to his credit, it's played out. What's that?
You think Jimmy G is on borrowed time?
Jimmy G is definitely on borrowed time. I do not expect breaking training camp next season. Jimmy G will be the starter for the San Francisco 49ers. No.
I think he'll be competing, but I don't know if he's gonna win.
I don't think. I think from a business standpoint, strictly business, they're trying to get good tape out on Garoppolo and see what they can get for him. But you don't draft a quarterback unless the starting quarterback's Brett Favre, you don't draft a quarterback that high and put him on the bench for 2 years. I mean, it does him absolutely no good. Coach John McKay, 1979 Bucks. He said he had a 3 or 4 year plan to get to the playoffs. And he said, you don't get any better coming out of college by sitting on the bench drinking Kool-Aid, and you don't. So eventually, eventually you gotta go out there and you gotta let them play. Like, I think Justin Fields will be tremendously better next year. I mean, you had to let him go out there, and Myles Garrett had to sack him 7-8 times, and you got to throw those interceptions and get it out the way.
Do you think Fields would in that offense?
Well, I think Nagy's definitely on borrowed time. It wouldn't surprise me if Nagy is on his way out the door. As far as predictions for this game,
I know, man. Cincinnati. I'm
gonna go Bengals again. I'm gonna go Bengals 27, 49ers 20.
maybe I missed it, but I never seen the Bengals beat the 49ers.
Right.
And we go all the way back to Super Bowl 16 and Super Bowl 23.
Right.
And even the beginning of that season, Montana with that long pass right down the middle.
Yeah.
I got to go with the 49ers.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a slobber knocker. 2017 Niners.
2017 Niners. He's going hard hitting defense, and he say the Niners get out of there with the victory by 3.
They're going to make something happen.
They're going to make something happen and pull it off. It wouldn't surprise me, but I just feel like the Bengals, they got their hats handed to them last week, and it's at home. I think they'll come out and they'll play with a little more intensity. And just the inconsistency with Garoppolo, not able to really just, like you said, don't lose us the game, but as far as asking him to win it, I don't think he gets it done. Looking into Monday night's contest, we got the Rams. And they are traveling to the desert. They're going to take on Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins is back. And the team with the best record in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray came back last week. They handled the Bears fairly easy. He looks a little yeah. He did look a little gimpy. He didn't look super explosive, but then again, it's still Kyler Murray. And they were able to get that victory over the Bears. Just looking at this game, the more and more I watch the Rams, the more and more it looks like they're going to be a team that's going to have a fairly decent record in the regular season. It would surprise me one bit if the Rams played their first playoff game in Los Angeles and lost. I'm not impressed with this team at all.
Yeah, this is another team. I mean, we put them on this pedestal, and just like with the other LA team, it's like, what happened?
What happened?
You look up, but this Cardinal team is really playing great football. The defense showed up. Big fella had a pick six last Sunday. I caught a lot of this ball game in the first 3 quarters. By the 4th quarter, I was done because I'm like, they ain't coming back. This Chicago
right.
with the putrid offense, but this Cardinal team to go out there in the cold and the rain and to pull that dub out. I would say out of all the NFC or just NFL teams, the Cardinals have been the most consistent to me.
Right.
We've seen the injuries with Murray and they plug in the backup. It just J.J. Watt didn't play last week, and this thing just keeps rolling. Now, if you're asking me if they're gonna win the Super Bowl, come talk to me after week 17. Then we could discuss something else, dynamics, and that's when I get into a lot of history and numbers when I pick playoff games. But Cardinals and Rams. I'm gonna let you go on this one first. Cardinals Rams. It's at the house.
It's in Arizona.
It was at the house.
Yeah, like I said, the more and more I watch the Rams, I'm really not impressed with what they're doing. This is what concerns me about the Rams. The offensive line is not made to run the football. That's a big red flag. And
so this is like the '84 Dolphins. We can pass all day, but don't ask us to run.
Yeah, and it's not that they don't. It's not that they don't have the backs to get it done. I mean, like Henderson and Sonny Michel, they're not elite status, but by committee, they should be able to control the tempo more and give their defense time to rest and be able to do more of the play action than the bootlegs. But it's like, even before, Henderson got injured with a thigh bruise, he sat out this week, but the game dictated that they didn't really even need him because they were playing the Jaguars. But it just seemed like they were not interested in setting the tempo and setting the tone by running the ball. And the more and more I try to watch them run the ball, they're not a team that can line up and run the ball, against a good defense and get that 125 yards that takes most of the pressure off Stafford like they did last week. It was the Jags, so they got that done. Arizona is just – what's really impressed me about Arizona is their ability to win without DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. They played some fairly good teams,
Yes.
They played some fairly good teams. No Slava no Green Bays, no Tampas, but sometimes in the course of a season when you have injuries, you just have to just find a way to get it done. They were able to do that, and here we are. I think they're looking at the Cowboys in a couple of weeks. I think they got another matchup with the 49ers, and they're looking like they're going to have that number one seed. Tampa, keep an eye on those Bucks. You can't count out Tom Brady. But, it just looks like, Arizona's the better team. In this particular contest, Monday night, I'm going Arizona, and I think they're going to thump them again. I'm going to go Arizona by 10, 38-28.
Ooh.
I think they're going to spank them again just to show them.
I think I'm a. Oof. Well, OBJ, he's been absentee out there, except for the one splash he made with. Ooh, man, that's kind of this one's kind of rough on me. I kind of want to lean the Rams, but like you said, it's just. You know what? I'm gonna lean the Rams. I'm gonna lean their way. I think Arizona finally all the injuries and coast them along. I think this might just be that one that lets them know that okay, we got that out the way. Now we're gonna start back over. We're gonna get another streak going. I think I'm gonna go with the Rams. I'm thinking like 28-27.
28-27.
Yeah, 28-27.
So you can go with the Rams in the close one. All right, I got it. So
close one.
Okay, so I'm taking the Bengals and Cardinals, and Greasy's going to take the road teams. He's going to take the Rams.
Oh, I did? I took all the road teams.
He took the road teams. He took the Rams and the 49ers. So this week right here could cause some separation. Like I said, we're both coming in.
Separation.
We're coming in at 7-3. So either one of us get both of these games.
What's going to happen? You're going to win one. I'm gonna win one.
And then we'll be
locked, and we're gonna be doing the same thing.
And we'll be right back next week talking about, we're 8-4, we, tied, we're 7-5, we lost both games, or 9-3, you know what I'm saying? So either way, you know what I'm saying, it's looking like it's gonna turn out to be some fireworks going down to the conclusion of our contest that we have.
We might have to run this into a little OT, take it to the playoffs.
It could end up going that way, but that's going to do it for tonight's show. We want to thank everybody for joining in, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to check us out, Just Noise. That's every Friday night. It's on Spotify and Anchor FM, Google, and Apple Podcasts. For Doc and Greasy, appreciate all the love. Just Noise.